The Book of Peace. By Mars. This is a book for the wise one who wants to be peaceful. Read its content and meditate upon it daily, and you will have peace. Author. This is a book of spirituality, science and nature. Author the Book of Peace. P. The need of you arises from the immersion in the sudden nothingness. As the universe goes by, I comply. As it is getting bigger, it is getting smaller. We do not experience death. It only depends on the size of the brain at work. Wake up now, or ever be eternally dead. The numbness and coldness associated with death. Should I point out that you cannot outrun your own thoughts and you cannot foretell a coming disaster? All foreseen futures are deterministic and all manner of materials are used to make magic. Perfection, thus the want of the soul. Who can control the wings of a butterfly, and maketh him do what thou wish? To be chosen is not to be taken for granted, but to be chosen a second time, that's an opening. We don't love to be played with, but they love to play. These kids of Mother Nature, touching life by the blade, slashing a butterfly as it wafts past. Ready for the UFOs. They come and go every night and all through the days they go unseen. Blame the skullduggery and the blood drudgery upon the wombat. The whole world is material and cannot help. Being spiritual means waking up to the one who enters the mirror, the never-ending thought form that is still here, in the ever-present cosmic moment of now. There is no drawing of where you're going and where you'd be on your face, so it is useless to look for your future in a mirror. The system extends its lonely, miserable hands on to reach for the juice of the gods, but know it now that there cannot be a tomorrow without a yesterday. As such, there is no proliferation without meditation, and as there is balance everywhere, everywhere can be a place for practicing magic. The world watches you when you're hurt, so watch what you say when you're offended. Oh, Mother Universe, you give your power away and go to sleep. Don't fight, relax. My cup of grace is filled and overflowing. Life isn't workable math, and whatever you do will return to you in no time. Every confirmation of something might look like magic. The crave for thinking. What can you do for others if not what they do for you and ask of you? Like the absolute neutrality of a naked dog, a snake can go for days unnoticed in your house. Flies weave webs like spiders. Some thoughts are just useless. Monkey. So hard is it to join a new class with your old school of thought. In order to heal the hurt, you don't add more hurt. The butterfly, so gentle a creature. The true tests, we do not pass. Reluctance, hesitation, that's all it takes to save a soul, but also to lose your magic. Because of the space between the dead and the living doesn't want to become dead, and the dead don't want to become alive. Peace and defeat can be the same thing. Not only the mother feels pains of birth, but also the baby feels the pains of initial birth and growth. Acknowledging death, the point is not to live life, but to breeze through. The matrix as unreal as anything. Cotton swabs. As if by some sort of grand design, this exists. Lizards, they're nodding their heads. To the beat. So, I said to the master, I'm not a monkey, I'm a civilian. Every day is a celestial event. There was once again disgrace, disdain, despair. For I was lost, and all that had For I was lost, and all that had exalted in the past became once more still. I enter into a dream. I open my eyes once again to the demerits, oh, for sayings be. There was no one left in this room but an untold energy. This was keeping me awake and at bay, for I had imagined a soul of easy determines. No way to sumptuous the effort. I look up, and thank the darkness. For fortunes foretold, wherever the sun goes, the light touches. Without your love, O Sonora, I will myself lay down the burn. I wake up, again, to despair, disdain, desolation and odious envy. When two bodies are trapped together in the same space, They create a loophole, and whenever thus loophole is breached, it can only be created again through quantum dispensation. This dispensation of particles proves a voluntary relation of particles to one another, and as automation can only prove randomness, the quantum dispensation of particles proves free will. The path a particle takes is through automation, and whenever a particle doesn't know its path and destiny, it will require dispensation and free will. Every particle has its own secret path, and with the revelation of this path, comes desolation. The point of contact is pain. In that, all mental activities are a symbology for what happens externally. Entanglement properties work only minimally within time, since waveforms and particles form a sublime quantum creational loop. In this, reality exists as a time-traveling statute that can't be changed. Therefore, the binding of time is not stringent on the man but on the time. Everything exists as a cosmic event. When man tries to understand mathematics, we understand it as a derivative of a function of God. When God does mathematics, God tries to derive man. And in chaotic science, there exists an optimum of evil. And when this evil tries to bring mathematics to bear, it does it in trying to venerate man and dissect God. Now there exists a certain divine parabola which hinges on the trigonometry of man. Whereas man is the tangent variable of the cosmological angular derivative, God is the cosine value of the derivative, while Satan is the sine value respectively. While this parabola exists, it makes the creation of the trigonometric values on the graph matrix system and can affect its geometrical representation as well. Therefore, the parabola exists such that the determinant of the cosine factor of the variable becomes the opposing reality dimension. Therefore, when this dynamic phenomenon is put together such that the determinant is equal to 0, the parabola becomes a solid-state dimension. So, for the tangential variables to become equal to 0, they must become equal to the sine variable. So, the divine parabola looks like a continued division of all the sin, cos and tan variables over one another in an infinite set, squared. Which makes for everything we see, but doesn't make for all what we don't. When Kethra, the god of assumption, took throne, in the time of mercy and willingness where everyone was everything, there was a man known as Abdamadallah. In the town of Suthra where nothing happened, they took a strange look and, not knowing how to dispel the continuous danger, called it a threat. So, though quantum entanglement properties helped them, the knowledge of eternal life eluded them. Now, when many men would gather and deliberate the future of Kenna, there was a loud storm approaching. The people played with powers. Sauron, defender of death, the one whose eyes saw through all darkness, whispered from afar. And a voice heard, and responded, and sought to convey the message to humanity. But eternal darkness cannot be easily fought, and the humans were doomed. When Ransna brought his son, Ragnar, to Earth, there was a special retortion. This retortion separated the firmaments from the heavens and the earth and heaven appeared joined. Umatata, the grasper of reality, had shown a special light of wisdom to the gods. And all agreed, man was of little but equal essence. This enraged Xylos, the god in charge of the mystery, and he retransed the key of life to the serpent. Man then had been a beast, and all his upcomings were given unto the gods. But man, inconceivable of his own wrathful nature, began to hide. Kethra, who had been hiding with the Avatar, and decided to pronounce a vengeful wrath upon humans, and lauded the name of Iva. For if you look in God's face, you will surely die. The way to surrendering was presented before all, and every man was to choose his way to heaven. On the day of the doorway, all will be light, and souls will fly out of the world. So Wantila, the creator of the Codex, made a bargain to confront the future in its embers. Before people began to speak, there was murmuring. Too difficult to understand was the paragamy. For life in death itself. Soman, son of man, who was to come, and man who was near the Messias. Nobody to end a mother's glory of her child. But seclusion is the harbinger for delusion in any way and in and out of the mind. You press into the fore-eye. Plug your eye into the socket. Nothing changes in a never-changing dimension. Out of the circle again I must thrust my exertion. My once or again I can ignore the darkness. The teeth of the axis always ingest and digest. Unlike proboscis, however, that only squeeze. O Mistra, the sanicle of treasure I dead my heart. My beloved, where your love and lust have led. The beautiful death of the taunt of laughter. I lapse myself once beneath orbit of another lunar exoplanet on some system of some sorts quasi-quantic and triangulated. I have to make a meal of the aura these walls ferment towards. An aardvark, hard as it may be, is brittle and timber where it needs. People who dispatch their antiphrasis argumentatively are political. Where a unipolar asymmetric dimension heavenly can be symbiont to its antinomy or antiquated particle bears an azimuth, fractal the chess game seems, you can only play once you know yourself. Particles have vector properties as Mistra enchants. The deep forest is Mistra, you see through the valleys to atop the mountains. I again magnetize like an aura passionate, I knock once again at this door. Mistra and her humongous dragons whom breathe out fire so hot it melts the sea. The power of thine cult, I kiss again on your center, underneath your upper lip, below the taste of your bottom lip, below thine chin. Sweet preaudience, the department of nature. No breakage in the matrix of reality but control of and use of power. Certain powers though that beseech and are benevolent, who help and are called upon a cohort in stretching the extended hand. That dark power which you only clench but clenches you. Time how that binds are beyond the tides. Statistical evidence is only genius if the power is soft and subtle to be consumed by a brainiac, sim droid. The situation is somewhat drearily compared by my supernal griot don as being like that of a baby and its mother. So why people leave God is not pride. Why people love God is also not because of a lack of a self-denial. It is usually only based on a computational squander, where people see the nature of man in a second. The mosaic myriad of shepherding sheep. The demon and its carrier, the placebo to the empathetic telepathy of the holy path. No one is to shame. The devil in one's life, never going away, freezing and also boiling one from the within, to which depths a man can dive only to move backwards to swim, avoiding the collage. There have been sage and there have been cage, wise men and mages, beggars and those who for the sake of enough butter in hell, we call sugar. Verily, as we sit in one place and watch the rich play a game of unrestricted Tripoli before us all, let's remind ourselves of the fact that all revolutions in ego are as immediate prose of the past, very live. The only people who do really matter are people who tell the truth. The universe has no beginning and no end. The one who realizes this is a God, and there's none that can contest him. Now, in Law of the Master the disciple wonders why God thinks he's Lucifer. You may find that's because people who tell you don't talk too much are people who don't talk at all. We never accept the duty of love. When Soman, son of Sauron, was approaching the doorway of the untended, all recommence was reprehensible as the mortality of an infant is premature suicide. I take no further future steps. I stop at the doorstep of the broccoli. You who casts, cast your dice across the shadow and make no further move. Your see-through mentality makes man kick you off the witching bus. O Delphine, get off your flying horse. Be like Flora, the goddess of auras, the never selecting nor exerting. The form of man is no holy thing to look upon, but when a man sees this dimension of various capitulation, the world itself becomes a loose power, easily grasped by even the weak female. Humans don't know, they only know war. With war humans develop themselves the armor of stereotype, a stimulant for eternal warfare. Sonora, the goddess who birthed the crafting place of Sauron. The codices simple were being searched. But Sauron, on the following path to the mystic Abdomedalla. who enjoys the meanings of the music for language and not mathematics, is only on the current fluidly escalating for the dispensation of his future. So Don says, the grotto is necessary in any matrix, colorful or alchemical, exorbitant or vibrant, and in that nobody ventures for their own death. What's at the end of a black hole is my brain, and man boosts my valid showpiece as he circumvents the quest. A black hole, though cold and condensed, and can trap a man in thinking in space for an amount of time, is just a point in this cosmic momentum. Burr these mushrooms, people are fighting. Hypnosis is quick, mentally eroding as controlling, conscious and very much real. Man is laughable in his use of his mind, quick to make a constant judgment in obedience to a master. You are no master externally but for yourself. Those called by their own names are already mongoloids. The only way to strengthen your invisibility is deletion. Now I might say, though, that is astral drawing. Compelling is evolution and requires a conjurance powerful, compelling or conjurance impetuous, factoring in deletion in place of ascension. So, Sauron, dispatching of Soman, carried the power of the eye that saw all, and moving west-southwards, exhaled a deep fury. Now no one was in Suthra, unholy, nay, unworthy of quantum glory. But in the days of God Yohuan, the people saw orders to be obeyed from their parents, and so laws were made to install fears in men and not for the worth of science. Invoking his majestic trance, the god Ravenhoth, the one who precedes and was woken. To the sight of the unholy murders, the main stallion, the man's leg. No one had prepared for the vengeful storms from the apparent middle. The cluster of angles never separating but creating a line segment of width and equal disposition. Your length is your base. Like a German Nazi, arms stretched toward conquest. Although universal trigonometry is omnipresent around the projected height of measurement in approximal time travel, however, it's a virus that locks onto the cells of the skin. Like a conqueror, joining every nation as he desires. The cage of a man is the soul in which he dies. Perseus, thy rise. An angel's task is heavy. Who is God if he does not replenish the power of the angels? To follow the servant, a god's true way. Take Taparu, the wielder of the arrow, in whose quiver the god blows. Elapsing, like the sound of a canary amid flowing rain. The forgotten course of the ancient style to which mankind now holds. I open my eyes to the marooning waves. The style to which the 80s took to blend in its art catalysts. Activities are conscious emittances. Unlike looking for your soul in a mask-like mirror, your activities realize a certain valor and certainty coming with life as a man. Which is the burning element in the chemical reaction rarely grasped, in the same darkness on this galaxy of whose music still plays. So, sayings are, and traction resists gravity. The constant truth of the quantum withstands like a sitting sadhu, the opposing untruth of the relativistic nature of cause and reciprocal effect. The fact is, you go to sleep and you dream forever. There is no waking up in life. Kethra with Anna, begot Kaku, the descendant of Kateku, the one whom started the resistance of the Octavian enemy force. It is people who avenge the world. Cherry-picking from the field of awareness, magic is forced. It is the elusive connector of differing worlds, every mind with the depth of another. Consciousness depends, shall we say, on the intervals between the geometrical formula and the arena of deletion. This truly implies, God is the soul food. Magic, for its sheer non-use of power, can be exchanged for the power of God. God is but a master, and it is this evidence that makes it relatively easy to create a Dyson sphere around the sun. The most likely event is inconclusively bound to happen. Even cattle are not beastly, and the scorpion, a perceptive deception. There are magnitudes of unexplored space in the universe and on the internet. This unexplored space in practice accounts for the magic of nature. Man is simply mortal because he doesn't know the earth is a trap. The morale of the Eden Garden: nobody chances upon knowledge, not even the snake. Similar to Moscow, looking over the world with its bullish horns, The eye can scan the entire constellation systems tract, looking for creation. As a mother and her baby, you'll be fought by law enforcement even if you go against God. Abalamech, the first power, diffused the dispensary agents during the time after their revolutionary explosion. One day, a wise ascendant told me, my pain is not his pain. So, only silent men live with God. After the discovery of quantum mechanics principles, nearly a new theory a day concerning the matter has been formulated. A level of wickedness is needed to accompany money, for when you have money, people begin to steal from you and abundance just makes it worse. A man treats another man with knowledge of himself. A woman on the other hand can only see beauty in anything apart from herself. The umbilical cord is a mother's true self, connecting a sperm's head to an egg's shell. The mother does this as nature truly inverts pyramids, and separates the leadership goals from the followers' calls and demands. The baby not being innocent or devoid of dark matter, the laws of the universe allow a mother regardless of genomic arrangements, to inorganically bifurcate light under quantum electronic conditions, for the guarantee of life for the baby. Specifically, this is the job that the womb, the uterus in collusion with the gut viscus, performs to adorn the amorphously shaping zygote. You will find nothing about the mind, but for it is standing right next to you. It's like playing with a tiny fly. Apparently, it's always there around you but appears only to be visible. And when you start to play with it, disappears completely into the thinness of the air. Obviously too tiny to be scared of death and reabsorption into this cosmic vastness. So, I will retrace you, O Kethra, to the descent of your throne. You will either die if you're not alive, or live for so long that you die in any event. Either way, death can be the only result from life. The scientific community is compared to the medical association, inhibiting a murder of darkness as it utilizes its isolation to misplace everyone. Oh, Lemuria, I'm acting like a fish again. You have to be asleep to be awake, and you have to starve to eat. Playing with my playtime, I realized that dinosaurs are vampires, or shall I say, vampires are dinosaurs. Days are still passing, and we'll still live with this enchantment. For the mere critique of the game, all goals are beautiful. The key factor to remember is the game favors no one and getting a goal does not guarantee you victory. True victory is in stillness. The opposite of the constant colossal collision and bombardment that comes with staying alive. That threatening with God is Amor Fati, the Jungian representation of the cosmic shield. The formula for finding the secrets to the gates and their keepers are as follows. S equals G plus V squared. The wickedness of a man can only be explained by his own wisdom. For a man to disown his son, for the force to be with one man, and only wars befall service of the god. I hate anything that moves. The third eye is what blocks you, it's what makes you live. Noise is when God is not around. The end of the back is the front. Resurrect. We come naked and leave skeletons. People respect death because it's one of the only ways an opponent can be vanished. I am angry about the universe. It's full of low-life germs and I'm a staunch germaphobe. The age gap separates people. Love or hate your parents, they'll die. It seems like everything is repetitive. I and you share no covalence. Family feuds are everywhere, in every home, between mothers and daughters, sons and fathers, brothers and sisters. Family feuds are even in heaven. Who are you to tell me about the energy of a frog? The gaseous gases. This earth is sucking itself from crust to the core. So, Sarah told me, I'm wasting my babies. Oh Sarah, why do you not know gods eat their offspring as infants? Quantum deliberation happens in large groups of mind-emulated particles, preparing for the disposition. Deliberation separates atoms from photons, God from man. I say to thee now, think not. The grouping of a differentiated particle field, boson or lepton, positron or electron are the little glitches that make it into daily disposity or propensity. Rivers deposit at banks, oceans deposit even more money. Crystals are golden and shells are treasures. Food for the soul cannot be bought. We have in this world eyes covered by folly, and also, we have those with eyes used as witches use the internet. Either way, it's all folly. The accretion disk of a former supernova, magic is like saying it for it to come true, for many a tale has been created out of realms fictitious to man, to give a sort of explanation about himself to man. Fear can make you lose your way, so look right into the light and stay. Fear never leaves, nevertheless you as a wielder of psychometry should always proliferate a level of power. Should I say, when a man is ransacked to the soul, even the mountains of the earth do not contend his concession, the source to his madness. The phenomena of the light touching the iris is psychedelic and produces many memories. The same way you can never tell a man what he disagrees with and he'll respond positively to, God cannot detect even the most extremely contradictory reason to protect his sheep. As for faith, I do not speak of it. Any language made to not be spoken is a stupid one. Like the rules of French, which let you conjugate in the infinitive, but not indefinite, therefore you can speak for others and yourself, but never fully making a point about your true intuitions, however allowing you to keep the language audible or authentic. I've spent a lot of my time under psychiatry, for it is my mother's intention for me to recover. Whatever her demands, I don't know. Police, man the soldier, and the soldier is the man. Straws in my mind. Verbs are like vowels and nouns like consonants. Two butterflies meet. Your so-called God will not have 1 second of doubt or hesitation to the allowance of a sinful fight as people fight to the death every day. Whether he descends angels to guard over individuals remains irrelevant, as to the anger and emotions exhibited by fairly prayerful people over the dogmas and dissonance, who only when fed by the classiest of nutrition, call it quits. Oh, for whosoever deserves to blaze like a matchstick, deserves to blaze like a candle, and verily deserves to blaze like the sun itself. So, I'm here to re-establish my honor for my parents. P. Firstly, my letter is to you, the woman who made the days of trifle living and loving Lucifer apparent, whose father was a pastor, but never could agreeably spoil his daughter to the godly sins and sacred partakings. And Walter, her mysterious other, whom without any ado, enters the portals to the heart, with sense and without sins. To Courtney, who had the laws of transformation imprinted within her forehead, and could shoulder her breasts with a carriage of true royal caliber, roaming from brainiac to brainiac, while slowly, ignoring my hidden presence. Lo, Sauron named the other wizards, as Apsu, Namdan, and Enki before him, grandchildren of the universe, whose forefathers bore a certain equity of mind, and never discriminated even against the centipedes and lizards into the astral planes. Darko, whose beauty from her parents bestowed, had caused a deep arousal amongst all men superseding that of which nipples and vestige we as simple men could not pray more, but to realize. Oh, beauty of beauties, do not let witchcraft destroy thine shiniest of faces, but like a blush on a dimple, curve a waterless beast into the nets of clarion or confusion. Clarion, to which animate my dearest Mabel, I prostrate before thine fair skin. Hairline of whence flowed the mightiest of rivers and promulgated the hottest springs. Mabel, daughter of Iceland, your blood runs to and through to my Eskimo homeland, and I can never see with my eyes another beauty whom I so craved for thine perfectly evolved shape. Clarion, to my grave so spent, and an iron to her shape so perfectly bendable, just as the sky's sun rises to scorch any emit of negativity, you, my dear Mabel, kept me in a limbo of kaleidoscopic reminiscence, and looking upon this, oh, food for my thoughtful soul, have you freely given with grace. And by grace to grace you will return. I came from the ovaries, the animalist and his just asleep. What does a man warrant, if not his sustenance? I told Sandra about my monsters, and she wanted to be one of them. That red loving blue pill. To Sandra, who was captive to my imagination, and wrote a signal to the matrix from which I came and can never belong. We love each other. So, Sandra, I shall look for you wherever the spikes on the hedgehog leads. I am the nature of God. Regina's wonderful vagina, whose depth unforetold, like the brain myth. Just that your brain is as big as mine, you can understand what I'm saying. The formula is like an octopus and a spider. Like saying I can forget what I've told you. My hatred for humans is only matched by my love for the woman. The space of ascension is exactly equal to the space of descent. The worth of an unfulfilled promise is equivalent to the denial of speculum which preceded the staged death. Enroll into the school of man, and be doomed forever. Enroll into the school of God, and higher lessons will be made your heirloom. An eagle is a bee, as a turtle is a hen. Nothing breaks up the cobwebs of sleep, but daring to go deeper. Not everyone can be the son of God. The drop to hell is so paramount and also evident that you begin to notice the surface above as you go down below. See.